So I want to quote from one paper that I think is representative of these viewpoints. I will actually not just quote, but just to like read extensively from one paper. And the title of that paper is "Cheating in College is for a Career: Academic Dishonesty in the 90s" by a dude named Stephen F. Davis. And so in this paper, and basically in a lot of other papers too, the way they try to research cheating is they just send a survey, an anonymous survey, to a bunch of schools, and they rely on the schools to just give out these surveys to the students, and then they return them anonymously so that no one gets in trouble. That's basically what this guy did. That's what all the other guys I'm going to be reading about did. And so he wrote a survey. One of the very first questions on the survey he sent that he talks about in this paper is a question asking the students whether they thought it was, quote unquote, wrong to cheat. Like, even back then, I would feel like that would be such a pointless question. Like, almost no one feels like it's right to cheat naturally. No one goes into college with just natural criminal inclination to cheat on tests and papers. Like, just like no one naturally becomes a banker or an accountant and then they go on to do Enron scams, or they direct financial policy at Lehman Brothers or some shit. Like, that's not like a inclination. That behavior is externally incentivized. And I think all students either know that it's wrong and feel that it's wrong throughout their cheating. How deeply they feel that, obviously, that depends. But I do think it's every student. Or they justify it enough to convince themselves that they can go through with it when they do try it, when they do end up deciding to cheat. But the need to justify cheating when a student cheats, that's also externally provided. The reason to ask this question about whether you think it's wrong to cheat at all, the whole purpose of asking that question is to go down this line of thought of, well, if they know it's wrong, why do they cheat? Why do they think it's okay? Like, I mean, like, give me a break, really. Give me a fucking break. Like, don't we live in society? Like, don't we understand why people do wrong things? Like, what? Like, what, dude? Come on. Moving on to a different part here. So this is Stephen F. Davis writing. One specific goal of the second questionnaire was to investigate the frequency of cheating. Evaluation of repeat offenders yielded some rather disturbing data. In high school, the majority, 52% of those who cheated, were repeat offenders. The average number of offenses was 6.47. The figures are only slightly better when we consider repeat offenders in college. 48% of those who cheat in college do so on multiple occasions. The average number of offenses for collegiate repeat offenders is 4.25. A closer analysis of the multiple offenders provides a clue concerning the genesis of the collegiate repeat offender. Virtually all, 98.64% of the students who reported cheating on multiple occasions in college had also cheated on multiple occasions in high school. Of the students who reported cheating only once in high school, only 24.36% reported cheating in college, and then no more than on one occasion. Of the students who did not cheat in high school, only 1.51% reported cheating in college, and then no more than on one occasion. The message inherent in these results and their potential extrapolation to future behavior are clear. If you have paid close attention to these figures, the answer is yes to two questions that may have occurred to you. Great writing, by the way. Quote, whether it be in high school or in college, women reported lower cheating rates than men. While this difference has not always been statistically reliable on a sample-by-sample basis, I am quite confident that the meta-analysis would yield a highly significant effect. And so on, right? So we can see right there, we're doing repeat offender analysis here, which should be setting up some big red flags. It certainly does for me, right? Just for related context. Like, this paper, I think I did kind of a bad job introducing this paper. This paper, I think, was published in March 93. And so in just a couple years, like a year or two later, honestly, or before, in the years before and since this paper was published, 3 strikes laws were becoming more popular across the United States. And it's not exactly the same rhetoric, but it's definitely a lot of like, by examining the students kind of as criminals, we're catching a lot of like stray discourse from that conversation into this paper. And of course, you also saw there too, right? Just making this big difference between men and women who cheat, very classic like criminal analysis kind of stuff. And let me just give you one more example of this type of rhetoric that he's going on here. So on page 9, reading towards the end of page 9 of this paper, to what extent do students fear being caught? Quote, our recent data indicates that of those students who reported cheating in college, less than 50% expressed concern about being detected. It is noteworthy that the majority, 63% of the students who expressed concern over detection, were those who reported cheating only on one occasion. Moreover, the fear of detection differed in intensity between one-time and multiple offenders on a scale that ranged from minimally fearful 1 to very fearful 7. The average score of the multiple offender was 3.12, with the average score of the single offenders was 5.87. So in sum, fewer multiple offenders fear being caught, and what fear they have is less intent than that of the one-time offenders, unquote. So yeah, just more example of that kind of rhetoric. And of course, again, just this whole difference of like the fear of being caught, like, being a career cheater versus just doing it once and like trying to make a significant difference between that. It's all very criminal psychology kind of stuff. But if you want like a clear example of looking at the student as a criminal, Davis does get way worse than this. Reading from the top, I believe, of page 11. So, quote, having considered the prevalence of cheating and some of the causes and motivations for engaging in such behaviors, I felt it might be interesting to examine how this crime is being perpetrated. After all, if we are able to catch academic thieves, it will help us know their modus operandi. So again, you could just listen to that fucking vocabulary, that fucking rhetoric. Like, I don't think I'm crazy here for going like, holy shit, that's just so psychotic. Like, to me, that's just so crazy. Like, those are students, man. Like, have some control over yourself. These aren't members of the fucking mafia or like of a fucking gang, of a fucking organized, an extremely sophisticated organized gang or something, But like, his tone throughout this is very much like he's examining the attitudes of street level arms dealers or some shit, and there it comes out very clearly.